Hey now, we are getting over, and I am the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, here to lead you through these hard times. Daddy, with your instant analysis for Night 2, the 2026 edition of WWE SummerSlam. That's right, the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, and Vintage Chris Vanini are here to break down everything that happened Sunday as WWE SummerSlam officially wrapped up. We are here just 24 hours after delivering to your ear holes our Night 1 edition of WWE SummerSlam Instant Analysis. So make sure you listen to that podcast, if not before this one, at least before Monday Night Raw, the show after SummerSlam, just a day away. Vintage will be on the line momentarily. Before we get to him, we need to get to this. That is, of course, a reminder that the Getting Over Wrestling podcast
is all about Defy.
So please, folks,
stop being marks for yourselves and go back to being a mark for me.
Go back to being marks for the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, Vintage Chris Vanini, and the Getting Over Wrestling podcast in totality. Head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the show. Also, do not forget to follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. You get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show. We will read many of those this coming Tuesday on our WWE SummerSlam Second Look. Also, a full breakdown of everything that happened across SmackDown and Raw this week on YouTube. If you subscribe over there, you can listen to the show. You can watch full-length video interviews. Hit the link in our profile. Join our free Slack channel. Talk about wrestling with some crazy fans like yourselves. Do all of that on social media at Getting Overcast. Because this is an instant analysis, as we get into this episode late at night, usually we crack open a cold one. And the Silver King has Hardywood Tangerine Cream Ale out of Hardywood Brewing in Richmond, Virginia. Now, there is a specific instruction on the back of this can that tells me to pour slowly into a stem glass in order to savor properly. So, Vintage, that's exactly what I'm going to do as you tell us what you have over there in your domicile.
I have no instructions on mine, but one I've had here on the show before. Sucker Punch Watermelon Berliner from Three Nations Brewing near me, based in Carrollton, Texas.
Yeah, this one's nowhere near me, but cream ale is my favorite type of beer, and a tangerine orange version is generally up there with the best. So we will try that momentarily. We are really here not to talk about adult beverages, but rather professional wrestling. And we are going to do that right now by getting into our 2026 WWE SummerSlam Night 2 instant analysis. For anyone who is unfamiliar, we're going to go match by match down the card. We're going to tell you what happened bell to bell and around the match itself. We'll give you the results, grades, our analysis. We'll discuss what we believe will transpire moving forward, whether it's in an individual feud or for the individual WWE superstars. Of course, we will tackle any go-home elements that occurred on SmackDown. But other than that, we're mostly discussing what happened on Sunday and then looking forward to Monday Night Raw and what WWE has in store for us from now through the end of 2026. Vintage, there were two items off the top I wanted to discuss before we go match by match. The first, it's kind of reflecting back to our Night 1 instant analysis. On second look, the stage was almost certainly an inverted portion of the WWE Championship. At least that might have been the base design of the concept. If not, it's a massive coincidence, but it was even more apparent on the Wide Shot Sunday than it was for me on Saturday.
Yeah, I mentioned that on the last show, and looking at it even more on Night 2, yes, agree.
And I also praised Michael Cole on the Night 1 instant analysis for hitting some key points on commentary, and I certainly stand by that. But rewatching portions of that show, listening to him more, paying more attention on Sunday night, I mean, he's just extremely rough overall. There were some bright spots, no doubt, but the overall performance is trending downward in a massive way. It has been for the last 2 years. He had stepped up significantly with Vince McMahon departing and having Paul Levesque not as in his ear as Vince was previously, but he's back to just throwing kind of ridiculous phrases into certain situations, really hammering stuff over the head or hammering us over the head with individual key items and just inserting himself in spots where he should be laying out that good sports broadcasters, including Cole in the past, a few years ago, would know to lay out and let the moment soak in for itself. Corey Graves needs that job as soon as possible. It was crystal clear for me for rewatch on night 1 and then definitely through night 2. And I hate to say it because Michael Cole is a 3-time broadcaster of the year in the Getting Over Awards, AKA
the Meaties.
But I mean, he has fallen off and I just don't see him winning that award again.
I mean, I would love Joe Test to get half of WrestleMania, half of SummerSlam, like one night or the other. He's been fantastic. He's been incredible since he came aboard. It's Michael Cole in the biggest moments, the big moments where Jim Ross was always his most iconic.
Exactly.
Cole, it never comes just quite across as real with him.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is. Like he still, it's better than it used to be. But it's not better than it was, a year or two ago. Also, one other thing we didn't talk about night 1 really was the post show.
True.
Did we want to talk about that on this show?
You know what? I think just to keep it relatively, I say short, you know how long we talk about, WWE and really any topic here on the show. I think to keep this manageable, let's save all the post show stuff for the second look on Tuesday. But I know that you want to talk about the CM Punk promo, among other things.
Yeah, CM Punk and some of what Triple H said, but it's not really relevant to tonight. And we missed it yesterday, so maybe we just save it for the next
And you know what?
show.
The key is it's unlikely that we see Punk again until SmackDown on Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, he could show up on Raw. Let's take that risk and, assume he's not going to. And if we see him next on Friday, then we'll have a show before then. We'll be able to discuss his promo, what Paul Levesque said. Tonight, there was some interesting, without giving too much away already, there were some interesting promos on the post show. We'll cover all of that Tuesday on the WWE SummerSlam second look, full breakdown of SmackDown and Raw. Enough wasting time. Let's get into this WWE SummerSlam Night 2 instant analysis. And of course, we are going to start where WWE concluded. That was the World Heavyweight Championship match. Roman Reigns defending against Seth Rollins in the main event. This was obviously always going to be the last match. It was also only one of 2 bouts on the entire card that received a video package. The other, of course, was Danhausen's match. This one was excellent, of course, as were the others that only aired on the Countdown show. Rollins' entrance began with the Shield intro. He wore his old mask into the stadium and a nicer version that was actually the Dean Ambrose mask out to the ring. Cole tried to explain his white outfit accented by green, orange, pink, and purple, but the explanation he gave did not make a shred of sense. Conversely,
it's very weird.
Yeah, on the other side, Reigns had perhaps his simplest Big Show entrance since before the Tribal Chief days. Nothing flashy, fancy, or special. Rollins tried to hand Reigns his white flak jacket at the bell. He received louder chants, Seth did, than Roman, which I thought was interesting. It took them nearly 2 minutes after the bell to lock up, as Rollins told Reigns he owns him. Once they got going, it was incredibly clunky at the start. Rollins hit 3 tope suicidas. He got caught on a 4th, and both entered the crowd where Seth took a suplex onto that hard steel ramp that you see covering wires and such in major stadiums. Rollins stopped the spear from the other side of the barricade with a kick, then tried the spear himself, but I'm not sure he could have run slower if he tried. Roman caught him in what looked like a guillotine. Instead, he shield bombed him through the Spanish announce table. He tried again with the English table. Rollins completely reversed it for an even more devastating landing considering Roman's size. After they were outside the ring for, 5-6 minutes, maybe more, the referee just decides, you know what? I'm going to start counting to 10. They both beat the count, Reigns by milliseconds. Rollins immediately picked him up for a pedigree false finish, resulting in what may have been the first "This is awesome" chant across 2 nights, because few matches were long enough to create an opening for the chant to naturally happen. Reigns countered a stomp with a Superman punch. Rollins then avoided a spear with a leapfrog. Roman running into the middle turnbuckle and eating a stomp, bouncing off for another false finish. Rollins climbed up to meet Reigns on top for a superplex, but when he tried to move into a Falcon Arrow, Roman kept the headlock in a guillotine and a leaping body scissors. Rollins escaped by physically powering out and standing up, but Reigns bounced off the ropes with a thunderous spear and a perfect 2.99 false finish. This got Roman all in his feelings, ranting at Seth as he does when he gets into deep waters. Reigns tried a triple rope run spear. Rollins had enough time to fully reverse the move with a better than most spear counter that sent the crowd into a frenzy. Seth responded, saying he owns Roman, and he's only been number 2 because Roman was forced into being number 1. Rollins had a buckle bomb, but Reigns avoided a stomp and returned the favor with a buckle bomb and stomp to Rollins for another 2.9 false finish. They started jawing at each other, with Rollins asking if the bloodline was about to come out and jump him. Reigns said it's just them, It's always been just them, just me and you from the beginning. The referee got knocked down during an extended standing strike sequence. Rollins paid homage to Ambrose by bouncing off the ropes for a clothesline. Cole completely took us out of the moment by calling it the Wacky Line, one of the worst names in the history of professional wrestling for a move. Reigns did the same by hitting Dirty Deeds in homage to Ambrose. He tried a spear, but Rollins dodged and the referee ate it. Seth hit a stomp without a cover even attempted. This was to create an opening for a chair to be introduced given the storyline. Reigns used the ropes and looked to be in the same position, but Roman looked up, saw Seth on the screen, turned around and slugged him. Then he grabbed the chair, but with a chance to finally get retribution, and with Seth knowing it was coming and accepting it, Roman threw it to the side. He finally moved away from the past. Beautiful storytelling moment leading to the final act of the match. They swung wildly at each other for nearly 2 minutes. Rollins no-sold a Superman punch, then caught a spear with a midair pedigree. Reigns avoided a stomp, but rolled into the corner and ate a stomp. Rollins went to the top rope for an avalanche stomp. He completely missed, so Reigns speared him not once, not twice, but eventually 3 times, pausing between the second and third to say something that the director missed. He later explained he was repeating, "It's only me and you, man." The referee came to just at the right time, flying into the ring to count the 1, 2, 3, as Reigns retained the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in 34 minutes. They both sold the finish, sprawled out on the canvas before Roman told the camera that he was the one true champion. Rollins remained down in the corner watching the purposefully low energy celebration, so Reigns decided to go into the other corner, the opposite corner, and sit diagonally from him. After a couple of minutes, Reigns moved to the middle of the ring, stuck out his fist. Rollins somehow retrieved Ambrose's shield mask. He placed it on the canvas between them to represent Dean, and their fists met as they stood together facing the crowd as a unit with a nod of respect. Cole called it the final chapter of their feud, just to hammer home the point. Perfection achieved. Like, this was, by multiple tiers, their best singles match together. And it was an exceptional follow to the triple threat at WrestleMania 41, which is why it was originally booked for WrestleMania 42. It's unfortunate that Rollins got injured and we had to wait another 4 months for this, because due to the truncated timetable and some poor creative, the build to this match did not live up to expectations. It had us coming in less enthused than we otherwise would have been, because they missed so many touchstones that should have been hit, knowing this was going to be the match between them. Once the bell rang and they shook off some early cobwebs, they were on fire through the finish, and most of that didn't matter anymore. The Ambrose homages were well placed. If wrestling was cool and it wasn't tribal or competitive, he would have come out to join his brothers and fist bump at the end. The only me and you stuff was extremely Ric Flair retirement match coded. I'm sorry, I love you with Shawn Michaels. There was legitimate catharsis in the finish. The visual storytelling throughout was exceptional. You were witnessing Reigns and Rollins exercising their demons act by act as they rolled through the match. It was not just about Roman letting go of his hatred, but also Seth making peace with what he did. The table power bombs, the finish counters, the exchanged finishes, the shield chair spot with Reigns not only deciding to move away from his past, but not make the same mistake he did at WrestleMania 40 when Rollins toyed with his emotions playing into the title loss. That was special, and if it worked out properly, we would have had that at 40, then the triple threat at 41, and then Reigns-Rollins at 42. 3 WrestleManias in a row, kind of closing the chapter in their entire feud. I almost knocked my glass over. That's what you just heard. But the best part of this, perhaps, is that there was no interference or bullshit. Even when the referee got knocked down, that was well done. It was not used to excuse or overlook cheating. It was done so the chair could be introduced without someone trying to pull it away from them. In some ways, given their arsenals have really not changed over the years, it was an extremely familiar, almost comforting match. Like, you knew what was going to happen, but you didn't know the order. You didn't know the counters. And they still managed to find some ways to keep it fresh. The finish could have been a bit tighter. The referee respawning with a full energy bar at exactly the right time was a tad silly.
Yeah.
And for that reason, even on rewatch, I'm not sure whether I'll give this extra credit. But what I know for sure already is that this was a 5-star A+ match, and it was easily vintage, the match of the weekend.
So this match came down to one thing. There's one thing that put this match on the level that it was, which was very good, very hot, got the crowd into it. And that one thing is kickouts. The kickouts
Exceptional.
in this match, the 2.99s, as good as you could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why the kick out, the difference between a 2.8 and a 2.99 is everything. Because that is the difference between grabbing the audience for that split second where they think it's over and then you got them and it's not over. That's everything. That's what wrestling is about. Roman Reigns is the best kick out guy since Kurt Angle. I've probably said it before on the show. I say it as I've got in the background right now, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, SummerSlam 2001 playing on my TV, which to me is the greatest SummerSlam match of all time. Kurt Angle's kickouts in this matches are incredible. It makes the match. It's the same thing that happened tonight in Roman and Seth. Terrific match. The kickouts were the difference. Mm-hmm. So credit to those guys. That's what really got the crowd into it. Kind of when they went through the tables, that's when the match started to pick up. Here's a question. I posed this in the Slack during the show. Has a wrestler ever won using the other guy's move?
It has certainly happened. I don't know that it's happened in WWE in a major match where that's been the final move they hit.
So I know it's like a thing. It's a great wrestling trope.
Oh, you know what? Jay beat Gunther with the sleeper hold.
Well, okay.
He did.
But I mean like a 1-2-3 finisher.
Yeah. I mean, few and far between if so.
Yeah. Because the crowd was into those. But when those happened, those were the only two that I knew it wasn't ending like that.
Right, of course.
Although that's not true. The Roman Seth, when Roman stomped him, there was a part of me that thought he might win with that. And he didn't. And it got me. And that's why it's great. So that was fantastic. Going through my other notes on this match, I'll talk about the intro and the outfits and stuff at the beginning. Mm-hmm. But when Roman had him in the guillotine, perfect opportunity for a 3-arm drop. They didn't do it. Mm-hmm. And you know what happened in this Stone Cold Steve Austin Kurt Angle match? They did the 3-arm drop. And on the third one, Kurt Angle kept his arm up. The crowd went nuts. Oh, it was like, it's right there. It's so right close. Should have done it. Could have done it. Seth's spear was awful. Worse than Jey Uso.
Oh, I disagree.
I thought it was nice. He basically jumped up straight into the air and just caught Roman running toward him. When they showed the view from above, it was like, oh, there was no projecting forward on that.
Let me briefly pause you though. What else was he supposed to do? He was stationary. That's all you could do.
He didn't launch forward, I'm saying.
I don't know. I disagree. I think he did. I didn't think it was that bad. But go ahead.
Buckle bomb stuff. The first referee knockdown was weak. Seth just kind of leaned into him, and it's like ref bump. I was like, okay. It wasn't that great. It was also completely unnecessary because nothing happened between when he got up the next time. It was just the rope clothesline, the dirty deeds, and then the ref gets up, Roman spears the ref, and now we're going into it. So I didn't understand why they even needed to do the first ref bump. Positive, Seth picked up a chair. It was not a Wingstop branded chair.
Right.
Great.
I noticed that.
Love it. And yeah, just really good match. Tons. I mean, it was a classic WWE match. Big, lots of finishers, lots of kickouts. But that's why the kickouts matter so much. Because when you get people to believe them, it's not just finisher kickout. It's finisher. Oh, I thought that was it, and it wasn't it. Kickout. It's huge.
Right. If you do some of the spots and you get a 2.5 or a 2.8, you're just like, okay, whatever. It's the believability. And, you've said it. I've said it. Roman Reigns is probably the best 2.99 kickout artist, at least from the United States. Okay. Kurt Angle was great. Kenny Omega, Kazuchika Okada are both incredible at it. But there's something about Reigns and his size where when someone that large doesn't kick out until that final, 100th of a second, where it's even more impressive. You buy it even more than you otherwise would. But Rollins was nearly on his level during this match.
Yeah.
So all of those false finishes that Rollins got, you looked at those and you said, wow, oh my God, he's going to get beat here. And every single time it was just by the skin of his teeth. I wanted to talk about this from a larger vantage point. Did you say that there was something you wanted to cover about their entrances and the gear and stuff?
Well, yeah, but first, real quick, ultimately, it felt like this match. I said last night that Cody Punk just felt like a worse version of Roman Punk from WrestleMania. Obviously, the finish was different, but a lot of the spots were the same. This felt like they also wanted to do their Roman Punk, where it's Roman closing the loop on something, no interference, had a ref bump. To me, it didn't quite get to that level, but it was very, very good. On the intros, that's colorful, fluffy thing. You didn't actually say what he said. Michael Cole said that Seth described it to him as the all black he was wearing was about his rebirth and coming back from the injury. And that by coming out in this colorful stuff, he's essentially signifying, like, I'm fully back. I'm past my injury and all that kind of stuff. Like, it just looked weird.
Right.
His outfit.
It was really strange.
It doesn't fit the character. Like like when Becky was wearing outlandish stuff, it fit the character. It has never quite really.
Remember when they fought in 2022? Didn't Rollins come out in like Shield gear? Right? Like,
yeah, and he wrestled in it.
I'm not saying he needed to do that here, but it would have been nice if there was like an homage to that in some way in his gear, even if it was like a white version of what the Shield gear would be.
Well, isn't that the white flak jacket he tried to hand to him?
Well, that was, yeah. But like, he didn't really wear that. You know, like he had the big jacket over it, right? So it's not like he wore that to the ring, and it was a white Shield aesthetic. That huge jacket just overshadowed everything else that was happening. And the explanation from Cole was so weak. Even if Rollins, let's say, did tell him that directly, like, this is what I'm doing and this is the meaning behind it, it was so weak and against the theme of the match that I was just like, what?
Yeah. Also, I did like that they started with the Shield music and then switched to his regular music. Because when they wrestled in 2022, he just did the Shield entrance. We don't need to do it again. He did it at WrestleMania 40. Like, it's a thing. So I'm glad there was a nice little nod to it without making it the whole thing. On Roman's entrance, you mentioned it's kind of the least flair he's ever had for a big one.
Recently, yeah.
It made me realize I kind of missed the big AR reality guy who would like do the
come on
ooh thing, but it looked bad.
But
we'd gotten so used to it, I kind of missed that guy.
The guy who's thrusting his crotch in your face, that guy.
Yeah, because there was just nothing else around it other than the fireworks, which continued to be great. Yeah. But Roman looked great. He had the hair dye and the beard. The beard looked fantastic. Probably the best it had looked in a very long time. Had that thing good to go. Would love for him to grow out the gray at one point, like kind of like the way Goldberg did. Graybeard Goldberg was pretty cool too. But I like both the entrances otherwise. And I didn't say it at the beginning. I did say it on Fastest 15. The video package, awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
Like a Linkin Park style rock music. I looked up the song afterward. Like, that got me fired up way more than almost any part of the feud storyline did. That's the power of WWE's video team. They can get you excited for a match no matter how good or bad the build was, and they can make a build look fantastic even if it wasn't. Shout out to the WWE video team.
And we'll talk about this more on Tuesday's show, but if you want all the video packages for the matches, they air them during the countdown show. And I know it's kind of ridiculous to say, well, you should watch an additional 3-hour show just to see video packages. But if you do make that part of your watch, then you do get all of that prelude to the individual matches that you're going to see on the card. You're just not getting it immediately before the match starts, unless you are in the stadium, in which case you do get it. They play them in the stadium during the commercial breaks. So, that's just something that people should be thinking about and considering. We're not saying that we like it that way, but it's not like they've gotten rid of them. They've just changed the location of them.
Well, yeah. In getting one after a 3 to 4 minute commercial break, again, also is a little bit.
Also true. It's like, then everyone's complaining like, hey, why is there 15 minutes between matches? Well, because we had to air the video package, right? That conversation about timing we'll save for later in the show. From an overall kind of standpoint here to wrap this up, as far as I'm concerned, Reigns and Rollins can never fight again unless it's part of something like Elimination Chamber or a 4-way or a tag team match or something like that. This was not only the final chapter in their feud, it was also the epilogue, like especially given the post-match burying of the hatchet to a degree. I'm expecting Rollins now to take some time off, not appear on Raw this Monday night. Well-deserved, but also necessary so that Roman's win can land and he can reset and figure out what's next. As long as Reigns is champion and they are on the same show, that's going to be extremely difficult booking. Similarly, Roman's next path is going to be interesting. LA Knight seems like he will be the next challenger, and we know
baby, I would love this.
And we know Obafemi is kind of waiting in the wings eventually, but Reigns has exercised his demons against the two men he needed to defeat. And he did both of those in 4 months over CM Punk at WrestleMania and now Rollins at SummerSlam. Roman is only going to be on 5 of the next 10 Raws, and I believe that's none in September. If memory serves, that is the way his schedule works out. So the way all of this plays from now moving forward is going to be incredibly interesting. WWE does not have another premium live event until Money in the Bank in like mid-October. So in September, they have Worlds Collide, but it's a WWE NXT AAA show in Chicago. I don't think Roman Reigns is going to be wrestling on that. They have Sunday night's main event a week or two before that. Perhaps Reigns is on that show, but it's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens with this championship and with both of their career trajectories moving forward here. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, but like Rollins and probably Becky Lynch, the best thing for them might actually be to move over to SmackDown. But what's problematic with that is that the SmackDown men's roster is insanely loaded right now. So I don't know if they're planning to do some type of talent exchange, draft, transfer window, whatever. But if you look up and down the roster, and this is just kind of accentuating it with the Rollins situation, it's needed after SummerSlam even more than it was needed after WrestleMania.
Yes. Also, like we went coming into this, we were saying like Roman's pretty much acting like the heel, even though he's getting cheered. Mm-hmm. The chair thing at the end of the match, like that was the biggest indication from Roman we've had in a very long time that he is a babyface.
Well, not that he's a babyface, just that he's not a pure heel.
Well, that was about as babyface thing you could do. Refs knocked out and you choose not to use the chair. Like that's I know it was in the larger story of let's settle this man to man.
Yeah, I think you're looking at it from a very tight window. Like you're not giving a lot of lenience to people having multiple phases and portions of their character. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying like that's a babyface move one night after the rest of the bloodline is very much heel. So there was no bloodline interference here. They didn't come out with him. None of that. So I'm also curious, what is Roman relative to the bloodline moving forward?
Totally.
Because they were pretty much separate for this because they had other things to do. Do they come back together at some point? We'll find out.
Let's not forget, kind of going into all of this, Jacob Fatu and Jey Uso were at odds. Reigns was backing Fatu over Jey, kind of trusting him to run his plays and do all of that. And that seemed to be an extremely heel move. Jey is the one who took the fall in the 6-man tag team match. So does Roman go from, again, I don't believe he was necessarily babyface here, but does he go from someone who's at least murky to Monday night suddenly being a heel again, saying, Jey, you screwed the family, like you're on probation, whatever the case might be, and kind of backing Jacob further? How do the fans respond to that? Does Reigns get like a new coronation almost at the start of the show because he has exercised those demons and he's able to move forward? Like what's going to happen on Raw? I'm actually extremely interested to see, specifically when it comes to Reigns and then Rollins, who of course I just said I don't expect to be on the show. Let's move to the other major championship match on the program. That was for an interim WWE women's title. Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Chelsea Green, Charlotte Flair, and one contender to be determined in a ladder match. On SmackDown, we had Julia against Lash Legend. And Vintage, I got to tell you, I forgot we even had to cover this because this is going to take my mind and tone and tenor of what I'm about to say into a totally different direction.
I think WWE forgot they had to put it on the show.
Yeah, I think they did too. You could tell from the opening bell that they were speedrunning this match. They immediately went into signature moves. Julia did the octopus hold and she landed Arrivederci in 1 minute. She countered into a guillotine, but Lash powered out of that, flipping Julia around into Lash extension to get the 1, 2, 3 in 2 minutes. 2 effing minutes. As if we needed more proof, the women's booking in this company has completely fallen off a cliff. Lash over Julia, 2-minute match. And it's not Lash over Julia like that shouldn't ever happen. It shouldn't happen going into a ladder match. That is Divas era bad. What an utter embarrassment. And what a terrible booking decision, as I just explained. I could have accepted the winner if they were allowed to go 8 to 12 minutes and show out. But this was downright pathetic. Julia better get her ass moved over to Raw on Monday night, or I'm going to flip the F out. Completely dumped her face turn, turned it into absolutely nothing. And let me add, I have seen this described as a burial or a squash. People don't know what those terms mean. Amazingly, while this was despicable as a match, it was neither of those. Julia got most of the offense. She got 3 signature moves. Lash only hit her finisher. It was just a short, insulting match. And also,
that is one big pile of shit.
Hashtag give divas a chance.
Yeah, seriously. Now, before this match began, the ladder match, I spoke about the why extensively on prior episodes. I legitimately believed only one of the 5 women booked in this should have been in the bout, and that was Chelsea. Jade, Charlotte, and Lash had no business being involved. Tiffy, you could make a case, but not the others. It appeared going in to be the most ill-suited lineup that could have been set for a ladder match stipulation, especially on a major show. And Vintage, I know you agreed with that, right?
Yes, agree.
So this was effectively the mid-show feature, third on the card. Green seemed to get the loudest pop entering. Flair and Cargill brawled before the bell, with Legend powerbombing Stratton and chokeslamming Green vertically into a standing ladder. She got no reaction. Stratton and Green teamed up with a series of Meteoras to Cargill and Legend, who rebounded by booting their heads off. Charlotte and Tiffy squared off, with each putting the other headfirst into a ladder. Jade then took Chelsea off a ladder for Jaded into another propped in the corner. Would have been better on the canvas. Stratton tried a Hurricanrana on Legend, only to get lifted on the second rope for a tremendous spinebuster into a prop ladder. Flair got 2 hands on the title. Cargill pushed the ladder away, linking with Legend to pull her down. Unfortunately, they dropped her. Jade clunkily threw her into a ladder, with Lash booting Jade's head off for good measure. Tiffy flipped Lash into a ladder with a Hurricanrana, then came inches from the title until Chelsea appeared, pushing her friend off the top into the other 3 women ringside. Stratton, in the middle of falling off a ladder, turns it into a swanton bomb. By far the moment of the match. The crowd went wild, realizing that Green was alone in the ring. She set up a new ladder, appeared ready to claim the title, only for the baddies to run in, pull her down, and start beating her ass. They helped Cargill up to the top. Flair respawned and battled with her as 3 ladders were positioned next to each other. Stratton and Legend were fighting on the other. Fans were chanting for Chelsea as she was stuck in a tree of woe between the ladder rungs when Jade and Charlotte again eliminated one another. Green respawned, sat up like the damn Undertaker, Vintage, ran up to the top of the ladder, and became the interim WWE Women's Champion in 13 minutes.
Oh! Yes! I love that!
That's what I'm fucking talking about!
Man, this was emotional. Like, I had written a note that WWE had given us some of the most significant blue balls ever, having Green get all the way to the top before sending the baddies out. But holy shit, that was a tremendous swerve with an awesome payoff, having her basically win the battle of attrition by just hanging down from the ladder while everyone else eliminated each other. It's precisely how she should have won a match like this. At the time it ended, this was the longest match on the card, which speaks to an overriding issue we will discuss later, and we discussed a little bit last night. The match itself also confirmed everything I previously said in the lead up to SummerSlam about the field not being appropriate for a bout with this specific stipulation. There was no one to take big bumps or do super athletic moves other than Stratton, and she did them, so credit to her.
Yep.
It was just a lot of the same stuff. Slams, bombs, busters. It was just Tiffy who added that spectacular element to the match. You would never have a men's match booked like this. Legend had no business being involved here, even if the rest had to be, let's say, for star power purposes. And yet, despite all of those issues, this still managed to exceed my expectations purely from a booking standpoint. There was only one noticeable flaw, Bell. That was the Flair fall down spot, totally ill-advised. And Chelsea even received an extended celebration in the post-match to really hammer home the gravity of her achievement. 3.5 stars B, a ladder match should never get a grade that low, but it was precisely due to the field. But it's almost secondary to the fact that WWE booked Chelsea Green to win a ladder match and become, it may be interim, but the WWE Women's Champion.
This was better than I thought it would be. And it's largely because of what Tiffy did and because Chelsea won.
Mhm.
And we said in the Fastest 15 Friday night, because Chelsea got pinned on that show.
She did.
And I said, it feels like it's setting up for a Chelsea win now.
Mhm.
They had, because you caught this, they had announced Jade versus Charlotte for next week on SmackDown.
Mhm.
Like, it didn't even happen on the show, but they announced it like on YouTube or something like that.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, like this is setting up for a Chelsea win. And they were selling Chelsea green hats in the store, and Danhausen and Cardona
They've
did
had
some
those,
funny
but yeah.
stuff with it. So
Yeah.
Chelsea Green finally winning and getting the spot. You knew the crowd wanted it from the moment they were making their entrances, and good on WWE for recognizing it, because we'd been saying it for a while back when she almost won Money in the Bank a couple years ago,
Mhm.
that like people really want to get behind Chelsea, even though she was a heel for a long time. I was like, she's over as much as anybody right now. The whole Unreal Season 2 thing, it felt like they had used that to try to build up sympathy for Chelsea, having Michael B. Hayes basically say like she's there to basically lose.
She's there to
They
make
tried
everyone else stars because she's so good at selling and doing all that stuff, right?
And they tried to like turn that into a sympathy thing. And on the post show, Chelsea dedicated the win to Michael PSAs.
Mhm.
So that was funny. Congrats to her, someone who been fired by WWE a few times, kept reaching out, wanting to come back over and over and over, got back, got over, got an interim championship. Super well deserved and happy for her.
Yeah, her story is crazy. She joins WWE relatively young, does pretty well, gets injured.
She was in Tough Enough. She was in the Tough Enough when they brought it back.
She was originally part of that, yeah, but was working in NXT, gets injured, rehabs, comes back. I think they brought her up to the main roster. I believe she broke her wrist or fractured her wrist on her first match.
Yeah.
Then gets fired because they're like, well, she just gets injured. Like, what are we going to do with her, right? Everyone liked her, but they're like, screw this. She goes away. She works TNA, Independence, does all that, and she creates the hot mess gimmick, and WWE looks at this and they're like, we can bring her in. Like, she can really do something for us. And she stayed mostly healthy. She's now won multiple championships, and she has an interim WWE championship. It's not just that she has it. She won it in a ladder match at SummerSlam. Like, that is a huge accomplishment, no matter who you are, no matter how long your title run goes. And look, there's no expectation that Chelsea has a long run with this interim title. She will clearly lose it to Rhea Ripley whenever she comes back, if not beforehand. Hopefully she gets at least one quality defense. It would be nice for her to escape 2 or 3 times as an underdog to really extend fan sentiment behind her. There are so many ways someone like Chelsea can win matches, even if they're fighting a Charlotte or a Jade or whomever. Small packages, crucifix pinning combinations, what submissions out of nowhere, surprising. There's
By the way, like,
good.
I know that's her character, but like, she can wrestle her ass off. She wrestled Penta in Lucha Underground back in the day.
Well, yeah, that was
largely
largely a
that's not
Penta
her
character. Penta Lord's the character in that, but yes, she can. To your point, she can wrestle. So like, she doesn't have to be entirely protected. She doesn't have to be someone who lucks into victories, but even if that's the way you want to book her, at least give her a couple of those. Interim titles can change hands. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens before Ripley comes back, but I would love to see like Ripley and Chelsea and have it go like 8, 9, 10 minutes longer than you would, regularly expect their match to go. And she loses and it's okay because, everyone expected Rhea to win the title. This was a brilliant moment. It was executed incredibly well. Really the only fault in the entire segment was because the field was built in properly and because it didn't get more time, the match wasn't as great as it could be.
No, but again, it was better than I thought it would
was
be.
better.
Here's a
than
question.
expectations. Yeah.
Here's a question. Does this count as a world title reign?
That is going to be
as an interim belt.
It's going to be entirely up to WWE because this has literally never happened before. So they've done an interim reign in NXT with the Cruiserweight Championship. They have never done it on the main roster. The only time I remember something similar happening was the Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, the reason for the initial ladder match where, person was injured. They vacated the title, but they said, hey, I'm not fully vacating the title. It's still mine. And then a new person won. And they said, well, we need to figure out who the true champion is. But that was not this. That was a clear change of title. A new reign started. This has never happened before. Is it going to be a concurrent reign? Is it going to be wiped from the record books if she loses? Great questions. No idea what WWE is going to do. It should count. If it doesn't count, that will be extremely unfortunate. And then we'll just have to root for her again.
Yeah. So I was thinking back to CM Punk wins at Money in the Bank 2011, and then they do a new thing, and Cena beats Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio wins, beats The Miz, and then Cena immediately beats him to win the title there. And then Punk returns, and they're both having the belt. They fight at SummerSlam. Punk wins it. I looked it up. That did count as, I mean, it wasn't the same thing. They did technically vacate it, but that did count as a reign for John Cena. So yeah,
that was again a Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon situation where they're like, you vacated it, and Punk's like, I didn't vacate shit. I just didn't re-sign right away. So it was convoluted, but in the record books, it counts as a vacation. This does not. It's going to be real curious to see what happens. I would do a concurrent reign. That's what I would do. I think she should get credit for it. She is holding the strap. She won it at SummerSlam. She's going to have however many days as champion. I hope they do a concurrent reign. We will find out.
Like if Charlotte had won, this would have counted as like the 15th, I think.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, Vintage? So right now, WWE has identical nomenclature for all of its titles, right? Except for one. They have the undisputed WWE Championship, and then they have the WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah, because it's not undisputed. It's a stupid name. I've been saying that for years on this show.
But that doesn't change the fact that it's what they call it. Okay, I'm trying to make a point here. Okay, if Ripley beats Green or vice versa, they can actually now change the name of this title and call it the undisputed WWE Women's Championship. That would be stupid to the point that you just made. I completely agree, but it actually gives them a chance to fix the nomenclature. So
they should just fix it by not calling the other one.
They should fix it by removing it from both of them.
It's the WWE Championship. It's stupid.
Completely agree. 4 more matches left on the card. Before we get to all of them, Silver King does need to remind you here at Getting Over,
I happen to love the number 5.
I hope you do as well. For $5 a month, $50 for the entire year, you can become an official Getting Overhead. Just visit buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Sign up. You'll get bonus audio, the fastest 5 minutes in professional wrestling, instant reactions to wrestling television shows when major events occur, and exclusive news analysis posts every week, sometimes editorials as well. You get extra content, and you support the continuation of this show as we pump performance-enhancing audio into your ear holes. Please support us. buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Let's move to Finn Balor versus Sami Zayn, number 1 contendership for the WWE Championship. Balor opened SmackDown, like, holy crap, for real, Finn Balor opened SmackDown, going over his history with SummerSlam and how he spent the last 10 years scratching and clawing to reclaim the glory of the best and worst night of his career in 2016. The crowd was 100% fully behind Finn, which was tremendous to hear. Sami interrupted on stage with a rant about how he should be in a triple threat match, but everyone in WWE is happy. They got their Rhodes Punk marquee match. He gave reasons for being fine with either winning, and then basically took my storyline suggestion from the Ultimate Preview. He called Punk the biggest fraud and hypocrite in the company, going from the pipe bomb to corporate poster boy number 2. Balor finally cut him off and challenged him to say it all to his face. Zayn obliged, saying Balor should probably have won the world title a couple of other times, but he needed to realize the moment belonged to Sami. When Sami asked for justice, Finn said he's been waiting a decade for this. Zayn said he should probably give up, but Balor pointed out how, at least his situation, he had to relinquish the title due to injury. Zayn straight up lost. Sami played into his good guy deal, planning to walk away, until Gunther showed up, laid both of them out, which we discussed on Saturday's show. They ultimately got their licks back. This was probably the second most successful part of the Go Home SmackDown. The crowd was bought in with Finn, and Sami drew the exact response desired, considering his character and perspective. It was nice that we got some build to a number 1 contendership that was not really based on a feud, and I figured the fans on Sunday would be legitimately hyped for both guys, but fully in Balor's corner.
Yes, agree. Good stuff between them. Sami made good points. Finn got to remind everybody what happened. Again, 10 years ago, a lot of fans weren't watching that. Frankly, I would have loved a video package to go along with it to remind us how accomplished Finn Balor is and what exactly happened to him back then. But still, good job to set that all up before the match.
Now, before we fully get into this match, I do need to play you something that happened on the pre-show. And we normally don't hit all of this, but this was somewhat crucial for what was to come, not only on Sunday night, but possibly on SmackDown moving forward.
First of all, I got a lot to say about CM Punk, okay? Because I heard what CM Punk's been saying about me. What did he say on top? me being a start bench or a bench player who thinks he's a starter. I didn't really understand what he said because he kind of flubbed his words. I don't flub my words when I talk about CM Punk. I am locked in when I need to talk about CM Punk. I have no shortage of things that I have to say about CM Punk, but it seems he flubs his words a little bit when he talks about me. And you want to know why? Because he's terrified of me. He's scared of me. Not physically, no, because he's been in the ring with a lot of imposing fellas. Come over here. Let me talk to you. But I terrify him mentally and emotionally because I see him for the fraud that he actually is. And what was it you said on the panel, Punk? That I'm just following in your footsteps some things you did 15 years ago? Don't ever compare me to you in any way, shape, or form. That is an insult. Because I am nothing like CM Punk in any way.
Sammy.
I'm actually a real person. I'm talking.
Sorry.
I mean it when I talk. I mean it when I say something. CM Punk, he talks the talk. I walk the walk. I've been walking the same walk my entire life, my entire career. I actually stand for something. He stands for nothing. Do not ever compare me to CM Punk in any way, shape, or form. That's what's on my mind.
First of all, exceptional promo from Sami Zayn. It also had me coming out of this pre-show thinking, all right, I picked Balor to win this match. Silver King may have made a mistake. I think I need to go with Zayn because that is building to a championship match. But, not to get too much into a spoiler because we're going to cover this match in a moment. Perhaps this is not building to a match immediately. Perhaps this is building to a match in the future, possibly at WrestleMania 43.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when I first heard that, I was like, man, kind of makes sense for Sami Zayn to win.
No question about it. All right, this match opened the show with Balor, the first superstar out for the entire night. And his entrance, man, it hit me in the feels. Like the crowd was 100% bought in. They did the arm gestures, just like when he debuted on the main roster 10 years ago. You would have thought nothing has changed in a decade since. The fans sure as shit did not forget. They want Finn to thrive. And then, right before the bell, Nick Aldis surprises by coming out with a microphone. And he announces that he would do what is best for business and also do what is right by adding another participant to this match, Gunther. Zayn absolutely lost his mind, while Balor kind of just stood there, cool as a cucumber. Gunther came out in his old maroon gear rather than black, and then, when it looked like the match was about to begin, Aldis clarified that he had a fourth participant to add. Kevin Owens. Let me tell you, the sound that came out of my mouth when his entrance music hit, I don't know the last time I popped that hard. The fans went absolutely berserk. Zayn was catatonic, mouth agape, a stance he held through the bell ringing as KO took out Gunther and Balor with gusto. But holy shit, what a moment. What a pop. What an incredible return and terrific surprise. It felt like when New Day brought out the Hardy Boys back at WrestleMania 33.
Oh! Yes! I love that!
Other than Gunther being allowed to wrestle on consecutive nights, when Obafemi apparently could not.
No, don't like that.
This was a brilliant, meaningful way to start a major PLE. Perhaps best of all is that it made perfect sense storyline-wise, given what happened with Gunther and Aldis on Saturday, Zayn continuously getting screwed over by management, plus Owens being a main eventer by any definition of the term. I was seriously looking forward to Balor and Zayn. Adding Gunther had me shrug a bit, even though I knew the match would be better. Adding Owens tied it all together. Stupid me for initially believing it might be Carmelo Hayes for about 10 seconds before that music hit. So much better that it was Kevin Owens.
So the Gunther part made sense because of what Gunther had said after all this stuff and SmackDown and all that, basically do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I should be number one contender and all this stuff. And he beats out beating Nick Aldis should not get you into that match, but him being the GM and having that power kind of made sense.
Well, he already deserved it from what happened with the Cody Rhodes match and he got screwed so many times too. So yeah.
Good coincidence that Gunther had just happened to have a second jacket with the date of the show and the show stitched into it. I love the maroon as like an alternate for Gunther. Mm-hmm. Like the black and white's great, but the maroon is a great alternate.
It's awesome.
A great look for everything. So that all made sense. If we're being honest though, adding Kevin Owens made no sense. Like there was no storyline, no reason. He just came back via announcement. I popped huge. I loved it. I'm glad Kevin Owens is back. But adding Gunther, you could explain it in story. You couldn't explain Kevin Owens in story. Am I crazy for thinking that?
No, you're not. But that's why I drew the equivalency to Hardy Boys and, getting into that ladder match at WrestleMania 33. They were out of the company. They came back and got a championship match at WrestleMania, of all places.
I'm trying to remember. I don't remember the context of that match. It was like a multi-team ladder match.
I think it was a 4-team ladder match.
But someone couldn't be in it?
No. 4-team ladder match. New Day was hosting WrestleMania. They came out before the match, and everyone was like, what's going on? Like, why are they out? Oh, my God, New Day's entering the match. And then New Day said, actually, no, we're not, but someone else is. And they brought in the Hardy Boys. Okay. There was not a spot being filled. They literally just added them to the match. And just like, I don't want to spoil this too much, but the Hardys won that match and they won the championships and they did not deserve them based on storyline, just like KO didn't deserve this based on storyline. Yeah. But similarly, they're both former champions. They're both main eventers. So why wouldn't he get the opportunity, I guess, is the general concept.
That's fine. I guess there was some precedent for that. That's fine. Yeah. So, but like when Gunther came out, my thought was, oh, Gunther's winning this match. Because I'd been saying Sammy or Finn, both of them have been wrestling Cody and Punk a lot. Neither of them is like that fresh of a match.
Gunther has too, though.
Oh, well, right, but we haven't done Gunther Punk in a
year.
Yeah, so like I was like, oh, maybe Gunther's gonna win and go Gunther Punk. And then when Kevin Owens came out, my thought went, okay, this is what Sammy will do after this, and Gunther or Finn will win it. But this is what Sammy will do post that. So going in, as this all happened, Kevin Owens winning was not something I really was thinking of happening. I was also not spoiled, but like WWE put out a video of Kevin Owens messing with Dom Mysterio at the Fan Fest like a couple days ago. And Kevin Owens has like been around. It's not like we haven't seen him heard from him. There was a video about him and Sami Zayn when Sami won the title and all that. But
he was at NXT last month too. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's not like he wasn't there, but I wish I hadn't seen that very funny video of him and Dom. So it would have been an even bigger surprise to me, but still great to see him 17 months out. I think it was awesome. Loved it.
March 2025 was the last time he had a match. Pretty crazy. So once Owens approached Zayn after that early brawl I talked about, they hugged each other tight and then immediately went into their classic hockey fight. KO hit a swanton bomb off the top rope ringside like a psychopath, then another inside to Gunther before a stunner got prevented. Balor missed an early coup de grace attempt, eating a shotgun dropkick from Gunther immediately. Owens took Balor off the ropes with his twisting fisherman suplex, but when he tried a third swanton, Zayn got double knees up, with KO immediately selling the injury to his surgically repaired neck. Sammy was immediately sympathetic, but quickly turned, deciding to attack. Gunther intercepted with a sleeper hold, which Balor broke with a coup de grace on Zayn for a cover, and a 2.9999 falls finish. Gunther was late breaking the fall. He literally only got a fingertip on Balor's scalp. KO hit stunners on Gunther and Balor, with Zayn countering into a blue thunderbomb false finish. He then countered a Helluva Kick Owens did with a super kick and stunner for the 1-2-3 to immediately become number one contender on his first night back in an 8-minute, 30-second sprint that was simultaneously incredible for its duration, yet felt way too short for a match with so much talent and so much at stake. It was an adrenaline rush, no doubt about it. But it was basically all signatures and finishers and felt unnecessarily rushed, almost as if the segment was allotted 15 minutes and it couldn't go longer, but there were 4 entrances and 2 short promos, so he had to shove the rest into whatever time was remaining. With it going from 2 to 4 participants, Owens was the perfect person to win, not only because he prevailed in his return, but because it's a new chapter for Zayn's story. Not only did he get screwed over by management extending the match and dropping his chances of winning from 50% to 25%, his best friend literally took the opportunity from him. Sammy is going to go absolutely rabid. He was going to spiral based on this booking on SmackDown. That's going to be tremendous. Owens looked like he has not lost a single step. He definitely dropped some weight too. He was moving around incredibly well. Balor was probably the MVP of the match, all things considered. It's disappointing that his potential moment got overshadowed, so it will now be incumbent upon creative to keep him strong after building him into this spot successfully. Gunther is obviously atop the main event. He can get a title match whenever. Plus, by putting him in this first, not only did Aldis live up to his promise from Saturday, It was an excellent swerve for fans thinking he would just come in and win. I legitimately have no idea how to grade this. I need to rewatch it before finalizing. I will do that before Tuesday. At first blush, I'm at 4 stars, A-, the potential to go in either direction on rewatch. I'm leaning far more toward this being unnecessarily short, and it's tough to understand that decision. I need to compare this somewhat with Rey Mysterio and Kurt Angle at SummerSlam 23 years ago. That was a legitimate A+ sprint, but that also went 10 minutes with only 2 competitors, not 8.5 with 4. While this was great for Owens and Zayn, and it made sense for Gunther, as someone who was being pushed into believing in Balor again, like the rest of the crowd, this did kind of suck for him. I am extremely curious to see what happens on Friday.
Yeah, like, what was the point of building up Finn for the last month and doing so successfully? And we talked about it on the preview and the Friday night show. Like, they clearly had a plan. We want Finn to matter going into this number 1 contender, planned it out a month ahead of time, give him some wins, people get behind him, boom. Like, they correctly executed all that, all to just give it to somebody who just showed up and returned and took the spot away. Finn should have been just as mad about Gunther and Kevin Owens being put in this match as Sammy was. I know it makes sense for Sammy's character about getting screwed and all that, but like, Finn should be upset about this. Finn should be going to all this and say, what the heck? I had a one-on-one match and you just did this. Like, something needs to happen there. I'm extremely worried we're just going to kind of push Finn back down the card again, which I really don't want to happen. So that was one of my thoughts coming out of it.
Let me clarify, because you have not been a big Balor fan, believer, supporter for a while. Not that you don't like him, but...
No, I'm a fan. I love him. I just don't believe in his pushes.
But did you feel like I did in that, like, what you're watching on TV and the way you're seeing the fans react to him, like, oh my God, they're actually doing it. Like, they're maybe not going to give him the title. You know, there's no guarantee someone's going to win a world championship. But holy crap, they're booking him into an upper mid-card main eventer for real again. You had that same feeling I did, right?
Yes, I picked Sammy for story purposes, but it was clearly a concerted effort to do that. And so that's what makes it so surprising and needs to be addressed
100%.
On SmackDown. Finn needs to be mad. He needs to talk to Aldis. We need an answer on this. Elsewhere, like you, I thought the match was shockingly short. Like, it was, what you said, like far less than 10 minutes, less than 9 minutes. Like, what? This is your opener. It's hot. People are into it.
And it features 4 of the best wrestlers in your entire company. This could have gone 40 minutes and it would have been fine. But 8.5.
This should have gone double the time. It would have been a normal length match.
Yep.
And it would have been fine. Like, I could not understand why this was so short. We'll get to total show match times later. But that was my other takeaway from this, was like, what? And my other takeaway, Kevin Owens versus CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
Is going to be incredible. Something they have never done because they were never in the same company together in WWE. And the mic work, like, it's going to be incredible. And Kevin Owens didn't really want to talk about it in the post show. So we'll see on SmackDown. But that's going to be incredible. When Punk first came back, remember, him and Kevin Owens, like, saw each other backstage that first show and, like, eye to eye. And that was it. They haven't crossed paths really since then. So I'm excited for that.
I'm glad you brought it up because Punk Owens is a legitimate dream match, but it's also a legitimate dream feud. As you said, they have never fought before in any capacity. Singles, tag, partners, opponents, nothing. WWE independence, nowhere. There is also...
not even in Ring of Honor.
Never. There is long-term animosity between them that should lead to an incredible storyline from, as you said also, 2 of the best talkers in the game. These promos are going to feed families. This is a major shot in the arm for the WWE Championship picture and just for SmackDown booking in general. At the same time, it's a huge program that's being run in August without a PLE until October. It makes me believe they're going to try to run this match or some form of this match at Worlds Collide in Chicago at the end of September. I'm not sure they can hold this off for 2 whole months when he's officially the number 1 contender and no one else has any claim to that spot. Maybe you do a BS finish on TV because Zayn interferes and he gets a rematch, or they do a triple threat. But this is a massive, massive feud being put together at an extremely odd time on the calendar. This is a championship match that you could put, not night 2, but you could put it on night 1 of WrestleMania. Maybe not the main event, maybe the main event though, because they would talk their way into that spot. And again, it's happening the beginning of August, 1 month before football season. It's really odd timing.
And they've both been in WrestleMania night 1 main events multiple times too. So like, it's not like neither of them have ever done it. Some of that animosity, by the way, I don't know the whole thing, but there was a bit about CM Punk kind of making fun of Kevin Owens for wrestling in a t-shirt.
Yes.
Kevin Owens made some comments after Punk had been gone from WWE, like about Kevin Owens just kind of not really caring for him. So yeah, like, I don't know how much they're going to get into, but kind of like the Roman Punk stuff, there's some off the field animosity that deep fans will know. Maybe these guys mention or not, but it's going to make this incredible.
Yeah, if they allow it, these guys, they're great talkers, but they're also respectful. They always have been, both of them in their career. You can say certain things about Punk. KO, as an adult at least, we haven't seen anything crazy from him. If they both like say, okay, let's drop the curtain and let's just go for it, like it could legitimately be special. Like we're talking promo of the year contenders, match of the year contenders. Like this has the chance to be something insanely great, but I don't want to put the cart before the horse. It could also just be an interim thing. Let's, watch SmackDown on Friday and we'll find out. Speaking of SmackDown, this roster is all of a sudden out of nowhere, absolutely insane talent-wise on the men's side. In the last 24 hours, WWE added Orton and Owens to CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Trick Williams, Carmelo Hayes, Balor, Zayn, and Drew McIntyre is still on that brand. I could definitely see a move for him back to Raw upon returning, especially with Punk on Friday nights. Raw is basically all bloodline. They have Obafemi, Rollins, LA Knight is over there. Maybe Royce Keys and Solo Sikoa get moved over permanently, but still, that is a completely uneven trade. And that men's roster on SmackDown is absurd right now. So, they're loading up Friday nights. I know they want to pop ratings. I know, football season's coming up. There's going to be competition, especially in that Friday night slot on Fox, etc. But dude, this roster is ridiculous. Like we've been talking for weeks and months about how many people in WWE are injured and out of action. Orton and Owens, 2 of them, McIntyre another. He should be back relatively soon. There's a ton of women out also. But like, if they get 2 or all 3 of them back, they already have 2 of them back. Like, holy shit, this is a massive roster upgrade. It's insane.
Right as they've cut the show from 3 to 2 hours. As well.
Exactly, yeah. Isn't that ironic? Intercontinental Championship. Penta defending against Chad Gable. This was the co-main event. Gable came out in Vikings colors. His entire family wore the same, but he still had the American red, white, and blue Titantron. It took a bit. The skull clap caught on at the end of his entrance, maybe 10 seconds. There was a
so like it wasn't at all to the beat of the song like he'd been trying to do.
Yes, yeah.
He eventually just decided, let's just do the Vikings Iceland skull clap, and that was enough to get the fans to do it. So it worked on this show, but it's not a long-term fix.
No, it's not. There was a great visual contrast here. Penta in black and silver. They shook hands at the bell, but it immediately became contentious. WWE also debuted a picture-in-picture replay process that left the main match in the full screen, and it worked nicely. Gable caught Penta springing early for 3 German suplexes. Penta caught him flying on a moonsault with an anti-air super kick. He had a tope con hero that got a lot of air, but not much distance. He followed with a Penta driver for a false finish. Gable started selling a shoulder, which was exacerbated as Penta caught him doing a flying headbutt. He caught him on that move. He immediately caught his arm, snapped it in the sacrifice. Gable avoided a Mexican Destroyer attempt, moving into an ankle lock. Penta quickly escaped, despite taking an armbar over the ropes afterward. Gable followed with a counter German suplex on the ring apron and a ringside moonsault, adding a flying headbutt while selling the shoulder for a half cover near fall. Penta leapt off the top rope for a Mexican Destroyer on the apron. Did not land at all. Gable basically fell into his lap. You could argue it still created impact on the neck, but the move was not executed properly. That led to a false finish. Gable countered another Mexican Destroyer into an ankle lock. Penta got fingers on the bottom rope. Gable pulled him back into the center of the ring, locking in the grapevine for the tap out victory to win the first singles championship of his career in 11 minutes. Gable celebrated with emotion in the corner before Penta pulled him up, took the title away, quieted the crowd, and strapped up Gable, raised his arm, got another ovation. Gable's family joined him in the ring as he took a microphone and received "You Deserve It" chants. He shouted out his family, celebrated winning in his hometown. And then, for some random reason, not publicized at any point the rest of the match, the Mug Root Beer mascot, some dog, jumped on the apron, gave him a couple root beers, and he did like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or even a Kurt Angle with the milk cartons, and he chugged them. It was absolutely idiotic. Like, needing to monetize even this emotional moment. That was like top level pathetic from TKO and WWE.
No, don't like that.
As with plenty else on this show, the booking was perfect, but the short match time reduced the effectiveness of the moment. Why the F are Chad Gable and Penta only getting 11 minutes for the effing Intercontinental Championship, which has a huge history at SummerSlam, in the co-main event of the show? The entire match felt rushed, which is probably why the Mexican Destroyer on the apron was botched. There is no time being allotted for the wrestlers to let anything breathe, and it was particularly difficult to stomach in this match, which was a career-defining moment for Gable, something we have been especially waiting for, and we've wanted to see it not this year, not last year, for like the last 3 years. The finish itself was rushed as well. Penta, of all people, tapping out immediately once the grapevine was locked in. This guy has been a great fighting champion. His moniker is Cero Miedo, and he taps as soon as he experiences a little bit of extra pain. The spot needed to be a rope break, another 4 to 5 minutes of wrestling at least, and then the ankle lock going back in for an extended, hard-fought sequence with Penta finally tapping in the end. Can you imagine if like the Bloodstone match with Steve Austin and Bret Hart ended with Austin just like passing out right away? That shit went 22 minutes, twice as long as this. And it was in the same spot, the co-main event of WrestleMania. It was sweet that Gable got a moment with his family after the bell. I'm glad he won the match, but ending it with a ham-fisted sponsorship left a sour taste on my mouth. I still believe this was a 4.25 star A match. The wrestling was fantastic, but the ceiling for this was a 4.75 5-star A+ match, and they may have gotten there if they were just given time and opportunity. For WWE to bypass the Gunther title change, and then for Gable to hurt his shoulder coming off that Worlds Collide Money in the Bank double he pulled off last year. This was basically the third try to achieve this goal, and it played out like it was the third try to achieve this goal. It was a great moment. He was extremely happy. It happened in his hometown. I could not be happier for Chad Gable, the person. For Chad Gable, the wrestler, he needed more time for this to really hammer home the fact that he is someone who deserves this championship and needs to be taken seriously as the holder of the Intercontinental title.
It's so funny because the last match of the show, being given the time, got the crowd into it more the longer it went.
Which is the case with every great wrestling match. It doesn't have to go 40 minutes, but it needs to go longer than 15, most of them.
Yeah, that's how wrestling works.
That's how it works. Yes.
Gable can only get so over in this moment based on how much time you give him.
Exactly.
And good match. Loved what they did. I didn't like the tap out just because, like, I would have preferred Gable. What is his? Does he have a pinning finisher?
He does, yeah. The Chaos Theory. The rolling German suplex with the bridge.
Oh, yeah. He should have won with that.
I would have liked that too. Like, I agree.
For a big moment, I much prefer the 1, 2, 3 to a tap out. It's just more impactful for that big moment.
Mm-hmm.
But still, Gable getting busted open looked like in multiple spots, I think.
Yeah.
Helped. Second time in a couple of months, he brings his family in for a hug when his face is covered in blood. I love that his mom had a shirt that said #1 fan and his dad had a shirt that said #2 fan. Just a great little
I didn't
bit.
notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Great little bit with them.
Yeah, it's great.
The Mug Root Beer thing, I thought that was someone about to come in and attack him. Like, I thought that was a bit, and then it just didn't happen.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay. So, yeah, I don't know. That was weird. But good for Gable to get this moment. Like, ever since AAA, like, they're trying with him. Like, they're actively trying to do it. Give him a vignette, give him promo time, give him new music. But it's like they're not going like they're giving him like 75% of what you need to give someone to give him a push.
Exactly right.
And it's like you got to put in that little extra effort where the match where he gets it is 15 minutes. Hell, how long was that mask versus mask match? Like
33
40
minutes. Yeah, 33 minutes.
Yeah, like it again, that was another one. People got into it more the longer it went. This guy can freaking go. You're not going to get Gable over with his personality. He's good. He's good on the mic. He's not amazing.
The whole point of Chad Gable, I'm sorry to interrupt you again. The whole point of Chad Gable is that he is an awesome professional wrestler. So you need to let him be an awesome professional wrestler. Like,
and the whole point
is literally the key. Go ahead.
And the whole point of doing Gable versus Penta, a babyface, is that, okay, we're going to sacrifice a little bit of story here by doing babyface versus babyface. We'll make up for it on the back end with them having a ball on out match. And they just didn't give him the time to do that.
It's exactly right. Look, you and I have said it before. We'll reiterate it once more here and then hopefully never have to say it again. They failed to strike while the iron was hot and have Gable beat Gunther, which was the perfect opponent. It was the perfect time. He was fully supported and accepted by the fans. And he was a baby face at the end of a long kind of run toward that championship. They decided not to pull the trigger. They put Sami Zayn in his spot, had Gable train Zayn for that match at WrestleMania, which was absolutely ridiculous. That was the opportunity to really make Gable. They chose not to do it. That was a huge mistake. This was another opportunity. Everything this time around was worse. Even though the storyline went full circle with his disrespect
you
for
mean
Lucha
you mean
Libre,
compared to the Gunther thing going
compared to the Gunther storyline.
Yeah, of course.
That even the match, I'd have to look it up. I don't know that I have the time to do it while we're talking. The match against Gunther on Raw, I believe, was like 22 to 25 minutes. Twice as long as something on a premium live event. But Gable was hotter then. His character was better in terms of like what the fans wanted to accept and cheer. He had the song and all that. The opponent was better just in terms of Gable, an American, going up against a big, bad foreign, enemy who had a really long title reign that he was trying to end. It would have ended that record reign for Gunther. Every element of that, I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, was better than this. I'm extremely happy that Gable got this moment. It was later than it should have been. It was not executed as well as it should have been. And then when you combine the forced skull clap, the terrible entrance music, I know you like it, the dad rock shit, but it's just not good. It sounds like it's AI, like whatever. The forced rebranding of him really didn't work. I wonder if he had come out of the mask versus mask situation and just been the Chad Gable that we used to know and love, if that just would have been better overall. You do that, you give this 10 more minutes. I think you're looking at like someone who's the crowd's going crazy for it. It fell short in so many different areas. The match was still really good. It did not reach the level it could have reached.
Agree.
Let's move over to the United States Championship. Trick Williams defending against Baron Corbin. Williams opened hour 2 of SmackDown asking why Corbin returned to WWE just to hate on him. He made a Doug joke like the Nickelodeon cartoon before Corbin entered to a shitty theme that sounded AI generated. Baron told Trick that he learned patience during his time away, whereas Williams believes himself to be extra important given the way WWE has gotten behind him and platformed him. Trick asked whether Corbin was there to collect his pension, and after getting himself hyped up trying to fight, Baron called him a dumb rookie who would lose his title on Sunday. He basically guaranteed it. The fans did get hyped for Trick, but the whole segment was low energy. It accomplished not much of anything. There was some storyline developed here, and I give them credit for trying to do that, but it was not a SummerSlam-worthy storyline. It made zero sense that this was on the show without Carmelo Hayes' involvement, considering Corbin attacked both of them, Melo first in his return, and this guy got a title match without winning anything since coming back to WWE. So it was a total head-scratcher going into this match, and that was the go-home from SmackDown. Vintage, did you have any thoughts on that?
I did like the go-home. Like, the story from Corbin is basically like, hey, I had to work my way up when I got to the main roster at WWE. You just came in all confident, and it's working and you're moving up too fast and I need to humble you. Basically, you're having more success than I did. I'm upset about that. I'm the old guy who's going to come here and humble you. I was like, okay, like that's a story. That's a perfectly good story to tell. Would have loved it more than the go home. And I wish Corbin had won something coming in, but this segment itself I thought it was quite good.
Like, at least to get Corbin this match. And look, I don't want Carmelo Hayes losing to Corbin, but if they had done a number one contendership and Trick was ringside and he factored in and kind of cost Melo accidentally, and Corbin won that match and then cut that promo, let's say 2 weeks ago, then you would have said, oh, there's real build here. Like, he earned the opportunity. He has a reason why he's doing this. And instead, we got it 48 hours before the show, to your point. This was second on the card. Williams attacked before the bell and pulled out a table in a regulation match. Corbin laid him out with a beautiful deep six ringside, kicking off a physical extended beatdown. Lil Yachty got in his face ringside, so Corbin drove him into the barricade and got real heat from the fans for it. But Yachty threatened with the Trick stick. Back in the ring, Trick hit a leaping neck breaker, a couple cyclone kicks in the bookend. Yachty hit Corbin with the stick over the ropes. The referee was busy with Williams, but it made such a loud noise. Apparently, that was not enough for either a disqualification or just an ejection if the referee didn't see it, but he heard it. Trick escaped End of Days to land trouble in paradise. Corbin got into it with Yachty on the ring apron, and when Williams attempted to help, Boat was the one who took the table bump off the apron through that weapon. Trick and the referee got distracted. That allowed Baron to use the United States Championship as a weapon, and then he hit End of Days to win the title in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. We discussed this as a legitimate possibility, I think on the Ultimate Preview, but definitely last night on the Instant Analysis. I believe we both ultimately predicted Williams would retain the title, but we mentioned there were no title changes on night one and how it seemed like maybe every single title would change hands on night two, with the exception, of course, of the World Heavyweight Championship in the main event. There will be a lot of people upset, and I've already seen it with Trick dropping the strap here. But it can be beneficial for a few reasons, including potentially leveling him up into that upper mid-card main event. He was in multiple recent segments with Punk, don't forget. It also reopens the U.S. title to a larger slate of contenders now that a heel and a veteran heel is holding it. The likes of Melo, Ilya Dragunov. These are people we want involved. Finn Balor, I know we want him in the main event, but if he's going to be around something fighting for a title, okay. It also clears Trick to potentially win Money in the Bank in October, which would not have happened if he was the champion. Even if this is all just for Trick to work from under again and regain the title, getting a second championship, there are far worse people to battle than Corbin, who, by the way, gave Williams arguably his best main roster match yet in this spot. This was legitimately one of Trick's best outings because he and Corbin matched up extremely well together physically and athletically. And regarding the weapons teases, the idea was to introduce enough chaotic elements to protect Williams while changing the title. I liked this in action more than I would have if you showed it to me on paper. For this to be, by the way, Trick's first main roster singles loss. 3 stars, B-.
The thing no one ever wants to admit about Corbin, he's a real solid hand.
Yeah.
Like, he's a pretty good worker who generally works well with anybody. It's always the character with him that is the problem. But he's got a great working punch. Deep six is awesome. End of Days is a great finishing move. Like, I'm not surprised they put a pretty good match together out of this. However, his entrance music is horrible, like you said. And I'm a guy who likes rock music, but I wish they'd bring back his old NXT and when he got called up thing. I Bring the Darkness, I think it was called. I don't know if that was CFOs or whatever.
He has had 3 main roster themes before this one, or excuse me, 3 themes in WWE before this one. All of them bangers, and this one sucks.
Yeah. So didn't like that. It didn't make sense for the tables to come out, like you said, but I do want to credit commentary for immediately pointing out, well, Trick's got champion advantage here. So, like, he can DQ and lose, or he can have a count out and lose. And that's why there was a point in the match where Trick was going to be counted out, and Corbin himself rolled out to stop the 10 count. So, in commentary, explained that. So, like, those are, like, important rules in the kayfabe of wrestling. I
100%.
thought Michael Cole in commentary did a good job with that. I was stunned when Corbin won and then realized, oh, we should have seen this coming for all the
100%.
reasons that you said. Putting the title on a heel makes all the sense in the world for the reasons that you said, all the various baby faces that are there that can work with them. And again, Corbin, a guy who can work pretty well with a bunch of other people who can work. And Trick, you do need to humble him a little bit.
Absolutely.
To get the crowd to, they're already behind him, but just to connect with him a little bit more. Have him face some adversity, see how he handles that, and potentially move him up higher. Like you said, on SmackDown, there was a backstage segment with Trick and CM Punk. Punk had said, among the many people he wanted to defend the title against, he listed Trick Williams. So you knock him down a peg to bring him back up a little bit more. That makes sense. Corbin lifting the furry championship belt was so funny. It looked so goofy. Credit to him in the post-show interview that he was going to pluck every bit of fur out of that. So
he had a great promo on the post-show. And he did. And he explains, like, I told you this was going to happen. I'm a veteran. He's a rookie. He can't level up to me. Like, it was believable. And I mean, look, to the point that you made earlier, it's never been an issue with Baron Corbin, the wrestler. He gets in the ring between the bells. He can work with anybody. Main event, mid-card, low-card, small, big, doesn't really matter. He can work. The guy has legitimate talent. It's always been a character issue. This character that they're giving him so far works. The question is going to be whether the crowd will buy into it. It did not seem like they were on TV. They bought into him during SummerSlam. The stuff with Yachty, the way he was, working with Trick, they were booing the shit out of him. And if they can keep that going, they suddenly have a legitimate heel who's a U.S. champion. And what we just said, there's so many baby faces for him to work against, whether Trick gets Money in the Bank, whether he gets, title opportunities for the main title, whether he just wins this back in 3 months. The possibilities are endless. But going in, I mentioned it earlier, he was undefeated. He was 11-0-2. He had 2 no contest finishes. 11-0-2 on the main roster since getting called up. Him losing by a belt shot is not the end of the world at all. If you're freaking out about Trick dropping this title, don't. And beyond that, he's also proven what I had said for really a year, but even longer than that. The guy just, when the bell rings, he doesn't have it. Like, he's so charismatic. He's an amazing promo, but bell to bell, he is not there yet. And if they decided he needs another 6 months of seasoning on the main roster, working with a bunch of people before we give him a strap again, then I'm totally fine with that. He is so over. Look at how LA Knight has been insanely over. He had 1 short title reign with a mid-card title, his entire main roster run. If LA Knight can stay over, Trick Williams can stay over. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. And lastly, Danhausen against Dominic Mysterio, human money's on a pole. Danhausen on SmackDown interrupted the end of a Rey Fenix versus JD McDonough match to confront Dom, who got ejected after interfering. Mysterio shoved him to the ground, but the Minis came out to attack, and they ultimately carried him to the back, winning the segment, if you will. That gave me hope that Dom would actually prevail at SummerSlam. Dominic was on top early in this match until Danhausen, I believe, hit his Danhausen death drop or whatever it's called. Commentary did not even call the finish, which was really strange. JD McDonough interfered with a moonsault less than 3 minutes into the match, so he got taken out by 4 Minihausens, particularly Torito, for whom McDonough sold his ass off. The Minis tried to team up to retrieve the monies, but he took a Hurricanrana and Tope Cannonball from Torito, who drilled himself into the barricade upon landing. Pretty funny spot. McDonough prevented Danhausen from grabbing the monies with a headbutt, so this effectively turned into a 5-on-2 or 3-on-2, depending what calculations you kind of want to make with those guys. Except Joe Hendry ran out with a guitar, smashing it over JD's back, which basically brought the match back to where it started with Dom and Danhausen. As Dominic grabbed the monies with Danhausen hung up on the top rope, he cursed him. The ring post sparked, and then Danhausen grabbed the bag to win the match. Danhausen then threw fake money into the crowd after the bell. The fans were on a roller coaster here. They were up for it. They went real down for a while. Then they went back up in the finish, and they cheered. They were excited that this match transpired the way it did, and they were happy to get it, and they were happy that Danhausen won. Was there some fun to be had here? Sure. I guess if this was on the pre-show or something, I would have perhaps really enjoyed it. Did this belong in the middle of a SummerSlam card?
No.
Beyond that, the mini-housings and the curse resulting in the ring post sparking, they're both insanely repetitive at this juncture.
Yes.
It worked a couple of times. They need to come up with fresh concepts moving forward because this is now completely played out. It's been like 4 matches where he's done a curse and the ring post sparked. What about like the turnbuckle falling off or someone slipping and falling or whatever? You have to do something different. When the match was first announced, I figured the stipulation would be utilizing the money as a weapon and then leading to a pinfall or submission finish. Because that was not part of it, I did not mind Dominic, losing as much as I would have if he got pinned or submitted. Still, this was a huge missed opportunity to get a ton of heat back on him. By him beating Danhausen in like his signature match or whatever, fans would have booed the shit out of Dominic. And instead, 2026 appears to be a completely lost year for this guy on the main roster, coming off an extremely strong 2025. This, by the way, while he's AAA Mega Champion.
Come on, Oos. It's a joke, right? It's a joke, Oos. You ribbing me?
As far as a grade, I'm at 1.5 stars D, worst match of both nights of SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, the crowd was cheering by the end. It's a funny gimmick. Okay. Would this have been better on a TV show instead of SummerSlam? Yes. You know, it's the year of Danhausen. I picked Danhausen to win, and I said he shouldn't win, but, you know, they're just going to get it's a Danhausen gimmick match. You give it to him. We've seen the mini-Hausens just a million times now. Shout out to Cole for basically calling one of them Torito, who he is, the former Torito, the bull that was with I don't even remember what they were called, the bull people, like a decade plus ago. And it was funny because Cole says Toritohausen, and Wade Barrett says, that name sounds familiar, which is funny because Wade Barrett, I'm pretty sure, dealt with Torito back in the day. Joe Hendrick coming out, missed opportunity for someone to say his name, and then he shows up because Cole goes, well, I guess somebody said his name because we're just pretending that's the gimmick when they don't actually do the gimmick.
It's so weird.
It was a little weird to essentially do a second pull something down from the top match. This was right after the ladder match.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we're just going to do 2 of those in a row. But I think they positioned it because the vibes were going to be as good as they could be after Chelsea Green won.
Right.
And so you're not going to bring him down. If you're going to bring him down, you're going to bring him down from a pretty high. And the rest was just whatever. It's a gimmick we've seen like 5 times now. Get him away from Judgment Day. Go do something else. I like Danhausen. All the bits he did around SummerSlam weekend were hilarious.
Oh, they were great.
He put on he got a Chelsea Green hat from the shop and said it's a cursed guy hat. And they said, no, it's Chelsea Green. He's like, what? It was funny. All the bits that he
had
was
a
doing.
Great backstage segment with Nikki and Brie Bella that was really funny. Like, he works well with the women. Charlotte Flair, he's done stuff with. The backstage bits, the backstage stuff on TV, the things where he comes out to the ring sometimes are okay. Even the matches are fine to a degree. It's the in-ring sing-song shit, which is horrendous. They're now 0 for 2, and not just 0 for 2, but like 0 for 2 turn off your television bad on both of those. And then they're repeating these spots in these matches. The minis are overplayed. The sparking ring posts are overplayed. It's just enough. By the way, the group that you were thinking about was Los Matadores, I think, back in
Matadors. The Matadors, that's right.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. So, just we've seen the same 3 things from Danhausen for the last month. And it feels like it's a thing Vince McMahon would do. Just do that one thing over and over again.
Exactly.
We love Danhausen. Do something else with him if you're going to use him this much.
Yeah. You're completely right about that. All right, Vintage, that is our full instant analysis for night 2 of WWE SummerSlam. As always, before we wrap up the show, we're going to give you our post-show grades. In this case, for night 2 of SummerSlam, we're also going to give you our final grade for both nights of SummerSlam combined. You always get the opportunity to go first. But before you do that, let's remind where we stood after night 1. Silver King was at a 91 A-, 2 points lower than my expectation grade. You were at an 86 B, 4 points lower than your expectation grade. And our expectation grades for night 2, Silver King was a 90 A-. You were an 87 B+. And I got to tell you, I'm extremely curious to see how both of our grades shake out here. for the reasons that we've already discussed. How like the booking was spot on, but the matches were short. And like, how do you compartmentalize and compare and contrast those elements to come up with a final grade for the show? So like I said, Vintage, you get the opportunity to go first. What is your final grade first for night 2 of WWE SummerSlam?
93 low A. The only reason I was going to do 92 A minus.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason I'm not is because of all that we got. Two title changes, a number 1 contender, a new women's champion.
Mm-hmm. Huge
Stuff
return.
happened.
Huge return.
Stuff mattered.
Yeah.
Yes. But I can't go more because of how short everything was.
Yep.
Like, you add 3 minutes to everything. This is like a 96, 97 type of show. It was all there. The money on a polls match was dumb.
Yeah.
But everything else was there. If you just let most of the time these match ends, I'm like, oh, that's it. And that's not the feeling you want at the end of a match. So I'm going to go with that.
I mean, that's still a significant bump. That's 6 points higher than you were coming in. So
it is.
That means it exceeded your expectations, which it exceeded mine as well. I'll kind of give a tease there before I give my breakdown. So look, I cannot remember experiencing a premium live event or pay-per-view where I basically had zero criticisms about the booking decisions on the show. You know what? Forget having zero criticisms. I basically agreed with 90% of what happened in totality. Yet I still felt a level of disappointment purely because the company did not give us enough of its product. Night 2 was far better than the sum of its parts. Gable and Chelsea, 2 long-suffering wrestlers, they won important titles. There was interesting booking with Trick and Corbin. KO returned in a thunderous moment. The opening match itself was a barn burner, from the creative swerves to the wrestling, and the main event was a masterpiece. If you could turn your analytical brain off and not care about things like match time and how over someone's getting and what it means for them moving forward, you were rewarded with great booking, storytelling, and the right winners. And yet, while I love the sports entertainment aspect, I do want wrestling on my screen, particularly during premium live events, and particularly during the 4 biggest shows of the year. Why was the main event starting 2 hours and 15 minutes into the event? Forget Big 4. Why is a Big 2 PLE only running for 3 hours, maybe plus a few minutes? Like, what specifically is the reason? You'll hear people sarcastically answer that rhetorical question by saying, well, WWE needs to shove plenty of ads into the broadcast. That's not the reason. It's not an either-or scenario.
No, the ads are making it longer.
They could shove the same amount of ads into the show with more match time between them.
Right.
This is not television. There is not a hard out and planned breaks. It is streaming. If you took this exact show and you added 45 minutes to it with an extra commercial break, maybe a couple video packages, or maybe not, maybe backstage segments, and 20 minutes total of additional wrestling spread across the number 1 contendership, the Intercontinental title match, and the women's ladder match, to what you just said a moment ago, you would have been looking at a high A show from a grading standpoint. 95, 96, maybe even a 97, a low A+. Suddenly, matches go from 8 to 13 minutes to 13 to 18. And everyone is satisfied. The people who really want wrestling, the people who are there for sports entertainment, and everyone in between. For comparison, I posted this on social media before this show began, okay? Night 2 of SummerSlam last year, when TKO still ran this company, there were 6 matches in 2025 and 26. Bell to bell, there were 118 minutes of match time last year. 84 this year. That's a 36-minute difference. The average match last year was 20 minutes. This year, 14. The shortest last year was 11. This year, 7. There were 4 matches that went 15 minutes or longer last year. There was 1 that went 15 minutes or longer this year at SummerSlam. That is absolutely ridiculous. There is not a single legitimate reason that we are not getting enough wrestling on a wrestling show, especially WrestleMania and SummerSlam, the most premium of your premium live events. These are match lengths, 8 to 13 minutes, that we get on Raw or SmackDown regularly. It's like WWE has decided to remove the second act for matches, going from first to third without any crescendo building. I should not be exiting the show with any significant criticisms. They played to precisely what I, you, and many others wanted from a booking standpoint. Oh my God, Kevin Owens returned, a double swerve in that situation. Chelsea Green won a title. Chad Gable won a title. Okay, Corbin won. Maybe we don't like that, but he's a heel. That's okay. A masterpiece main event. A women's ladder match with the wrong people involved, only going 13 minutes. But Chelsea Green won that. They gave us so much of what we wanted here, and yet it was so unsatisfying the way they gave it to us. And how you compartmentalize that into a grade, I find it to be extremely difficult. I am right in the same level that you are. I'm at a 92 A- because I don't know how I can go with an A when I'm so frustrated over how little wrestling I got on a wrestling show. So I'm up 2 points. You're up 6 from expectation. We're pretty much, though, in the same level for night 2 of SummerSlam.
And before we move to the final grade, since you're on the topic of the time and the math, like, is the same conversation we had at WrestleMania. And I think back to the numbers you pulled up from SummerSlam last year. What has changed since then? The main thing I can think of is that these shows are now on ESPN. Is there any reason they would be doing these shows shorter and less wrestling for ESPN? Because again, they're just shorter shows. It's not like they're adding in that many other things in place of wrestling. It's just a short show.
Yeah, they did ads during the breaks last year. They had sponsorships last year. Like, all that's the same.
Like, why is this suddenly? This is a very consistent thing now with these big shows. Like, I can't imagine why ESPN would want a show to be short. Like, I don't get it.
And without action, which is their sports network. Like, that's what they're paying for, is the action, right? Yeah, 36 minutes less wrestling with the same amount of matches.
Right. That's I don't get it.
It's completely nonsensical. I cannot calculate it. I cannot compute it. I will do my best. You guys know that when it comes to this, WWE ESPN deal, Silver King has been getting a lot of really good information. I will inquire. I don't understand it. And it was disappointing in night 1 to a degree, but we had problems with the way night 1 was booked. Here on night 2, we love the way the show was booked. So it's like, why don't you do the one thing that can make your product universally loved, which is allowing these incredible wrestlers, some of the best in the entire world, to actually frickin' wrestle? Vintage, on that point, it is now time to give our final grade for both nights of WWE SummerSlam combined. Just to reiterate what our grades are right now, Silver King was 91 A- for night 1, 92 A- for night 2, which really does lead me to consider regrading night 1, which we'll do on Tuesday's show.
How about that?
You're an 86 B for night 1, 93 A for night 2. That does not mean that those grades are going to average into your final, but I am curious, what is your final grade for WWE SummerSlam?
90 A-, which is about halfway through. They feel, like you said, they fixed all the booking for night 2. I enjoyed it. We still have some problems with how night 1 went. Night 1 just didn't give us moments. Really, you got Oba beating Brock, but we'd seen that before. Night 2 gave us moments. You got Chelsea Green winning. You got Kevin Owens coming back and winning. You got Chad Gable winning. You got a title change with Baron Corbin, and you got an incredible main event that was much better than the night 1 main event. But the holes of night 1 hold it back. So it's an A- show on the whole, but it's a low A-. I didn't want to go into the B range, A-.
Yeah, something we discussed going into SummerSlam on the Ultimate Preview was how WWE really forced moments at the end of both night 1 and night 2 last year. They did not do that this time. These shows ended, and that was it. Obafemi won, Roman Reigns won, and you went home. They did have returns on the show and moments. Randy Orton, obviously, during the co-main event happened on night 1 on Saturday, and Kevin Owens returning in the opening match here on Sunday. But we didn't get something like during Paul Levesque's first year, his first premium live event of SummerSlam, where like Damage Control debuted, or something massively shocking and surprising happened. Like night one of WrestleMania 41, where Paul Heyman turned on Roman Reigns and, joined with Seth Rollins, and then they started the Vision. Like, we didn't really get any of those major moments on the show, and yet there was still enough to create headlines and momentum for WWE moving into the latter half of 2026 and what is normally for them a difficult time of the year. I am right there with you. I'm slightly higher. I'm at a 91A- for the combined grade, and what's really ironic about that is your 2-night expectation grade was 91 and mine was 90. So we literally flipped 1 point each. The only reason I'm slightly higher than you is I thought night one was better than you did. I graded it as such. I think I'm going to wind up coming down from that. But regardless, I thought the wrestling across these shows was quality for the time it got. The problem just was how much time it got. And
yes,
that is something that needs to be revisited by WWE and certainly by us as these PLEs continue to transpire. Because if memory serves, we didn't have these concerns with like Clash in Italy and some of these other shows. It felt like, there's fewer matches on those cards, but it felt like they got more time and we were relatively satisfied with how much wrestling we got. It was a clear issue for night one and night two, but especially night two, because night one was about like your stars and potential like moments. Night two seemed, the way the card was built, it was like, oh wow, they're going to give us a lot of really good wrestling. And they did, just not enough of it.
Yeah. One other thing I forgot to mention, 3 of the 6 winners tonight were on the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn card in 2015.
Wow.
Finn Balor, Chad Gable, and Baron Corbin. Like 3 of those guys were like mainstays of NXT at that time. So we're bringing NXT Black and Gold back. And 2 of the losers, by the way, Charlotte Flair and Finn Balor. So we're running 2015 NXT back on the main roster now, except just not giving them as much time to wrestle.
Yeah, they definitely got more time on those takeover shows, no doubt about that. All right, look, that wraps up our WWE SummerSlam instant analysis. Appreciate all of you being along for the ride with us. If for some reason you missed night one, I hope you enjoyed night two. Make sure you go back, listen to that in our podcast feed. As I've mentioned multiple times, we will be back on Tuesday with our next WWE episode that will open with a second look at WWE SummerSlam. All of your questions and comments you send to us on social media, I'll tell you how in a moment. We'll integrate those into the show, as many of them as we possibly can. We'll give any additional thoughts on the matches, the shows, as we rewatch them. Silver King may also alter some of his grades for the matches and the shows in totality. But in addition to the SummerSlam second look, which should be a really short portion at the top of the show, you will get your normal full WWE weekly breakdown. We'll talk about everything that happened on Monday Night Raw and everything that happened on Friday Night SmackDown that we did not already discuss during the night one or night two instant analysis. And then this coming Thursday, we'll have our NXT AEW show. We'll also most likely cover AAA as well on that episode. All right, let's wrap up this edition of Performance Enhancing Audio. First, a reminder to follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. You get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show. You can direct message us. You can just tweet or post us. We will find them. You can also email us, gettingoverpod@gmail.com. But that is how you follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky on YouTube. You can, of course, listen to the show. You can watch full-length video interviews. Hit the link in our social media profiles. Join our free Slack channel, which has grown significantly over this weekend. You can hit the subscribe links to the show, shop on WWE Shop, and so much more. Find us on social media at Getting Overcast. And please do not forget,
it's all about the 5.
Head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the show. It was a long weekend, a ton that we just covered in 2 nights of WWE SummerSlam. We'll be back with you on Tuesday for Vintage Chris Panini. This is the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, signing off and leaving you with just 3 final words. Bye for now.